Hello everybody, today we will talk about my casual red and white Circle of Protection red deck, and now there is a kind of a change, a kind of an upgrade in my deck tech videos. If you haven't seen the previous one, so after the deck tech itself, you're going to have some kind of matches played by me against AI in Forge to just give you a kind of a preview of how this deck might perform. And of course, in the future, we will have some gameplay videos where I actually play this deck on webcam or maybe even live. But for now, this is what is going to be included in every video. And this is the deck itself. As you can see, there is no sideboard. It's what I would play in a casual match. Of course, if we want to upgrade it for more or less a competitive manner, then it's going to be a little bit different, a bit less flavor, and a bit more powerful cards. But in any case, let's look at it. Here we have got the mana base. Obviously, we want some white mana, but we want more of red mana, of course, and not only red mana but mountains. This is quite important because we have got eternal flame, of course, and here we've got plateaus. Always fascinated by the difference here, and in the past I preferred this one because it's all snowy, ice agey, but now I would rather say that I prefer the original art. In any case, that's not that important. What is important is the main idea, and in case you haven't figured it out, again, I'm not saying that I'm a kind of a pioneer here. I had seen some decks like it, and it's just a pretty basic idea. This deck basically builds itself when you look at the cards that are available and the synergy that exists here. So here we have got the main cards that deal symmetric or more or less symmetric damage to your opponent and you, or maybe to the creatures that your opponent has. And the only difference is that you would capitalize on such cards as Circle of Protection Red and Spirit Link to kind of negate this damage and to make it not so symmetric. So, again, Orcish Artillery, quite a nice card by itself if you know how to play it. And of course, we would like to put Spirit Link on it, or maybe 2 Spirit Links. So if you do the math, you will see what happens. If you have 1 Spirit Link of it, you will deal 2 damage, then you will get 3 damage yourself. So you will lose 3 life first, but then you will gain 5 life. So that's a total of plus 2 life. But if you have 2 Spirit Links, then if you do the math, you will understand that you will not get 3 damage twice to yourself, right? So for this card, you will only net life. So essentially, you're going to get plus 10 minus 3. So you are up 7 life. So that's incredibly good, of course. And, if you manage to do that and stay alive and keep Orcish Artillery alive long enough, then you will easily be able to reach such amounts of life that it's not going to be highly relevant in the future. And then we have got another glorious pinger, so always fascinated by the art. Really one of the very best depictions of fire in Magic, if not the best. In my opinion, it's tied with Blaze from Portal, I think, the pre-modern card. But in any case, Brothers of Fire need no introduction. It's an amazing card. There is even a London-based old school group called Brothers of Fire. And this is a great card. So in any case, what's good about Brothers of Fire is that they are 2/2. And Orcish Artillery by itself is not that bad because 1/3/3 toughness sometimes can matter as a blocker at least. And Brothers of Fire, of course, can deal more than 1 point of damage, provided that you have enough mana. And it's more symmetric, so it's 1 damage to the target, 1 damage to you. And again, if you combine it with some kind of combat tricks, sometimes you can put your opponent into a tough situation where they actually don't know whether to attack or not. And, sometimes they will just not attack, fearing that you will have some kind of direct damage synergy, and you will slowly be damaging them and maybe gaining life. So that's the idea. And there is also Repentant Blacksmith, so this is protection from red card. And of course, we want cards with protection from red. Also Beasts of Garden, right? And the symmetric card, not really symmetric, but kind of a card that looks like a part of a cycle, Ivory Guardians, also from Legends, by the way, originally. So they're both 3/3, protection from red, and unfortunately, Ivory Guardians are even more expensive. You know, for 6 mana, you would expect something a little bit more powerful, but no. And here it says that as long as opponent controls any white card, that is, of course, white permanents, beasts get +1/+1. And here it says, you know, it's actually quite a major difference, because here it says all guardians get +1/+1, and we actually should think about it, whether it would give your guardian beast, but I think guardian beast is just a beast, not a guardian, according to the modern I don't know, and it's all very confusing and probably not relevant. In any case, yeah, they're not very powerful, but again, the idea is that they, and also these, probably a little bit more relevant cards, which are 2/2, banding and protection from red, will be able to survive. So these Knights of Thorn, I think they're called, in English, will be able to survive a massive earthquake, of which we have got 3 copies here, or they will also be able to survive Inferno of 6 damage, and your opponent's creatures most likely will not be able to stand that, and you will essentially again have some board advantage. And again, Circle of Protection red, of which I have got 4 copies here, which might be a bit too much, but it is what it is. Will protect us against Orcish Artillery damage, Brothers of Fire damage, also against Eternal Flames, which has a beautiful art, but slightly weird and kind of clumsy effect. Amount of damage equal to the number of mountains you control. Here they are, a ton of mountains. Remember that plateau also, of course, counts. And also does a half of that damage to you, rounding up. So let's say you have got 5 mountains, your opponent gets 5 damage, and you get 3, right? So of course it's not a better card than Fireball, maybe a tiny bit. In this deck certainly not, because we'll have some white mana, and well, again, it's here purely for that flavor. But Inferno is actually quite a powerful card, because there is no way you could do 6 damage to every creature on the board by using Fireball, unless you have infinite mana. And of course, I have always been fascinated by not only the art, but also by the fact that this card is an instant, because when something is so powerful, it rarely is an instant in old school Magic also. So, the only cards we haven't discussed yet are some kind of utility cards. First of all, there's Skull of Worm. Skull of Worm is a nice artifact, which is a little bit on the expensive side, sadly. So costs 3 mana to cast, but 5 mana for the effect. And the effect is to return an enchantment from your graveyard to your hand. So since we really want to depend on Spirit Link, and you know how easy it is to kill a creature with Spirit Link, it becomes a removal magnet basically, but we want to bring this card back and maybe put it again on some other new card that's going to come into play later on, or maybe again we want to have this Circle of Protection red. And of course we have Balance, a powerful card that might help us early if we are facing against some kind of a aggro deck that would be quick to beat us until we can deploy our creatures. And 3 books just to try and get some minor kind of card advantage, I mean. You know, as a bonus, you might encounter a situation where your opponent actually is playing red. And if you take this deck to a tournament, of course you have to upgrade it in some way before you do. But if you take this deck to a tournament and you're facing a red deck and playing Circle of Protection red in the very first game before sideboard, they would probably raise a couple of sidebrows, you know, this kind of behavior. I clearly remember how I played my Slight Knight deck, which is still, by the way, one of the most popular videos on my channel. You can look back at it. And I had Circle of Protection black main deck. So obviously that would work very well against some kind of a red heavy deck. So anyway, this is the deck. Let us look at the gameplay, and If you don't watch that, just let me know, please, what you think of this deck. How can it be improved? Have you had any experience with building something similar? Before we take a look at the games, I would like to remind you that we have got 2 patrons now, and this is certainly a great beginning because we are moving forward our goal of 10 patrons before the 1st of October. So our current rank is 2 out of 10, which is Harlon Minotaur, who has, of course, 2 power, as you understand. So the road from Cavil to Leviathan is 20% complete, but 80% to go. Patreon.com/mtg_Phil if you want to support the channel. There are 2 options. So here I am playing this deck against a blue, white, and black skies deck. This is one of the decks from the Gauntlet. And we see that our opponent can't use Maze of Ith and City in a Bottle properly, but I actually doubt it because I think that City in a Bottle is used more or less appropriately. So let's take a look at whether we can keep this hand. We don't have any early game spells, but we do have the Circle of Protection, and we might hope to kill our opponent's creatures if they have any. Yeah, it's a bit of a gamble, but let's keep. At least we've got the right mana. So we'll start with the Plateau and Pass. And from our opponent, we've got a Time Walk and a Time Twister. Okay, it looks familiar if you remember the deck that I played in the previous video. If you haven't seen this video, then I suggest that you watch it because it's an insane deck, essentially a wild deck, completely unrestricted deck. So yes, we saw a lot of draw 7 spells there, so to say. And after casting Circle of Protection red, we're passing to our opponent. Having a Serendib against us is not nice, but we're developing quite fast. So let's see. We've got a lot of books, actually. And there was a Psyblast and a powerful attack. So now let's try Beasts. And wait, do we have enough mana for Beasts? Yeah, we do. Because let's not mix up Beasts and Ivory Guardians, because Guardians are very similar but have different colors and cost 1 more mana. Okay, so do they actually live? Yes, I think they live, at least for now. We'll be able to cast Spirit Link. No removal just yet. Let's also cast the Tome, attack, and take back 3 points of life, while our opponent is actually losing life every turn. And we cast another book, just in case. And that was a Strip Mine on my Plateau. That's quite smart, because we don't have access to white mana now. Oh, we do have it again. So let's draw a card of the Tome and attack. So our opponent is dangerously low, as you can see. And now he doesn't even attack, but we can just sit on it, right? Because what do we have to lose while our opponent is simply losing life to Serendib Ifrit? Skull of Worm, do we have anything? No, we don't have anything there because it was a Time Twister, not a Wheel of Fortune, so we cannot take back any power enchantments, but that's fine. Yeah, probably I should have used the second book instead of casting Skull of Worm, but that's fine. Oh, swords. Okay, here we go. That's the swords. And now we'll be able to use Spirit Link. And I actually think that I will put Spirit Link on Serendib, just for fun. Because I don't think that our opponent has any kind of a way of dealing with Serendib. So here it is. There is Spirit Link, enchanting Serendib. It's a little bit weird if you look here, because again, this is different from mobile version of Forge, that if you cast your own enchantment on your opponent's permanent, then it will still be here. You know, it's something similar to playing Magic on webcam. So we cannot literally just reach our opponent's permanent and put an enchantment on it. We will just keep it on our table, probably closer to the webcam, to indicate that this is a spell that we have and it is enchanting our opponent's permanent. But nevertheless, we are going to get 1 life from this damage, and the tome is getting disenchanted. Notice this is the tome, not the spirit link. I think AI is acting based upon the casting cost. So now, to add insult to injury, I will just cast 1 more spirit link, and yes, our opponent is dead to Serendibifrit. Not going to sideboard here. I will keep this hand, and I think that later I should try playing against some other deck. But let's see, maybe our opponent is luckier now. So, okay, here is the Serendib. And yes, I just think that it is a very good weapon against Serendib. Everybody knows it. This is not how this deck is intended to play, as you understand, but still. So here are the bros, and bros get countered with Power Sync. That's okay. So our opponent is attacking, and okay, Sarah Angel is not okay at all. Remember that it is a Skies deck, so unfortunately Earthquake is only here for damaging our opponent and preventing this damage using Circle of Protection Red. And we do have the beasts, which will be nice, but we need 1 more mana for the beasts. So I think we need to get there as soon as possible. And yes, we're still getting just a little bit of mana. I mean, a little bit of life using Spirit Link. So here are the beasts. They may not be incredibly relevant, but at least it's something. And yeah, here's a Psy Blast. So our opponent is dealing damage to us faster than we're able to do anything. And we must deal with this immediately. What can we do? That's a good question. And yeah, actually, Gem the Tome is out because it was disenchanted, right? Didn't notice it for some reason. But okay, so let's cast the knives. The knives. The knights. And pass. And they get sorted. Okay, we do get a little bit more life. But being at 9 life and our opponent has 2 Serendibs now, it's not a good place to be at all. We also don't have a ton of mana, because if we did have a ton of mana, we would have been able to just cast Earthquake and prevent this with Circle of Protection Red. But no, I'm afraid that's too late. But again, this is how this deck is supposed to play, and we lost. And well, it would be a pity not to finish the match. So I will finish this match. We'll keep the hand. Let's make it quick. And for now, there is no crazy start from our opponent. Actually, we see the mana that we need. And okay, now we don't. And okay, here is the Serendib again. And here's a Spirit Link from me again. So this is just a way for us to get more life. And bros get countered. All right. So far, nothing is happening. Oh, 1 more Spirit Link. Oh, right. This gets countered, but at least this was 1 more counter spell that we managed to make our opponent use. And here's a Psy Blast. So we're doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good. We're only up in terms of life. And again, our opponent is destroying the disc. And I would like to remind you, if you want to see more games with this deck, because this deck actually worked much better. Maybe it was just a luckier coincidence. It worked much better when I played it on my live stream. So if you haven't seen my live stream, and I actually have to do another live stream, I want to do another live stream soon, preferably this month, 4-hour live stream. And on that live stream, as I have said, this Circle of Protection red deck actually works as intended, because I am able to use all of those shenanigans with Circle of Protection red, with casting Spirit Link on my Orcish Artillery, which strangely we haven't seen yet in any of these 3 games so far. So, yeah. And okay, I killed my beasts, drawing a card. Okay, I hope that at least I'm able to cast those creatures, because our opponent has so many different things there. It's insane. A lot of very, very efficient spells. Right, so protection from red banding. I don't know. Very frequently when I look at this card, I think that they should have protection from red and first strike, but sadly, no, they have banding, and it might be good, but not here. So, doesn't make sense to attack, because our opponent can block and use Mishra to pump. To be honest with you, AI doesn't always do that. And okay, disenchanting my Circle of Protection red, because yeah, of course, why would AI disenchant Spirit Link? Because Spirit Link is only casting cost of 1. So there is no reason to do that. It's not dangerous. Okay, and bros get countered again, so there's a counter spell. But look, it's turn 21. And again, when we say turn 21, we mean that we count these terms. We count these turns if we look at both players. So this means like turn 11 for one of us. And okay, we already have a ton of life. And okay, so there is no Mana Burn. By the way, in Forge, you can enable a Mana Burn if you want to. I just didn't do that, because now I pretend that we're playing Swedish. And okay, so that's already quite a lot of creatures. Each turn we are getting attacked for 4. But fortunately, we already have. Oh no, how many counter spells and counter magic do you have? It's like literally every card of our opponent is an answer to our card, and this is insane. But okay, again, we're getting attacked for 6 every turn, and the clock is ticking, so 6 more turns that we need to survive. And don't forget that we're getting 1 extra life every turn, but yes, that's not good. And okay, here is the earthquake that we need, and earthquaking for. What did I do? That's very stupid, because okay, I misread it. I thought that our opponent had 3 life. So on this white background, perfectly readable. On this red background, from the distance, not so well, sadly. In high res, and yes. In any case, we still won. We still won, and let's win in a stylish way using Eternal Flame. So how many mountains? Okay, let's do some math. Of course, the computer will do it for us, but I need to know how much damage we're going to deal before we actually do it. So does an amount of damage to your opponent equal to the number of mountains you control, but does half that damage to you, rounding up. Okay, in any case, we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mountains. Okay, so our opponent will get 8 damage, and that's very nice. Hellbent achievement: win a game with no cards in your hand. Interestingly enough, this is the first time I've done it here on this computer. Okay, so let's play one more match. And let's play against something different. Maybe against a kind of a control deck. So, what do you say? Maybe against an artifact control deck. So, Maze of Fifth, Recall, and City in a Bottle. This looks familiar. And yes, I will play. And I will keep these because we've got Brothers and Spirit Link. Again, taking into consideration that we're playing against Control, probably we shouldn't even hope to get this combo assembled, or at least to be able to keep it for a long time. But let us try. Let us try at least. So a lot of mana. And we say Trike. Okay, that's not a good start because Trike will easily destroy our brothers. So I must come up with something. Maybe I can throw knights at our opponent and then he will use it for Trike. I'm not sure. Okay, well, I think I'll wait a little bit here. But can't really wait, can I? Look, I've got 3 Spiritlings. I've got 3 Spiritlings. So, okay, I will cast Brothers, and I will see if our opponent is going to use the counters from Trike. By the way, speaking of counters, here in Forge, I changed those settings because originally you could have those text counters. So this is just some kind of a textual representation, but I wanted to make it a little bit more authentic, and I use these fish tank beads, as they say, and it looks nice. I love it because this is what I personally use in real life. All right, so oh no, we don't have white men anymore. Again, just like I thought, it is a tough matchup. Our opponent has Mirror Universe. So let's see if AI is actually going to use it soon or has some other plans. That's very interesting. Okay, so I'll put one Spirit Link here. And all right, should we Earthquake for 2? Yes, let's do it. Why no? I mean, why not? And okay, that's silly. Because yes, I did get the damage, but this was healed by Spirit Link, essentially. All right. So Mirror Universe still not used. Very interesting because I rarely see AI play this card. And okay, knights get countered. Our opponent is holding 2 cards currently. So let's see if we get lucky with the beasts. No, beasts also get countered. So here's a transmute artifact. And it was used. What did our opponent sacrifice? Let's see. What's here? The Mox. Okay. Yes, maybe should have sacrificed Manifold, but I don't know. Okay. Who are we to judge? And Tetravus. So Fern is such a nice card, and it's one of those things that you look at and you think that it should be costed differently, right? Because okay, 6 damage to all players and all creatures, and it should cost 6, right? So when you look at it, you feel that it should cost 6. This is just like with Grizzlebrand. Yes, they say that Grizzlebrand, 7/7 and pay 7 life, draw 7 cards, but it doesn't cost 7, it costs 8. Yes. All I'm saying is that it's not easy to get to this amount of mana, especially if you don't have Moxen, Soul Rings, and any other kind of fast mana. But Inferno would have been very nice. I would really like to see it. And okay, in any case, Tetravite. These are not nice. I mean, yes, it is a Tetravus token, but it's not as good as the original, of course. Anyway, we're getting attacked. And yeah, of course, our opponent has no desire to activate Mirror Universe, being ahead in terms of life. Wait, what happened there? What happened there? Tetravite enchanted may exile if you do put counters on Tetravus. Okay, so decided to move back. Right. Okay. I don't know what was the rationale for that, but okay, we saw the tokens, didn't like them that much. And I don't know. I think that now we must cast Spirit Link. And okay, it's smart. It's smart. So in this case, I would agree with moving it here. And time for Inferno. Boom. Okay, looks great. But we are at 1 life. So what will our opponent do? Does our opponent have a bolt? Does our opponent have anything else that can kill us? Probably not. So that's interesting. Can I make it a draw? This seems too optimistic, I think. And okay, here are the brothers. This can actually save us. City in the bottle? City in a bottle? Why? Yes. So, they warned us that AI is not good at playing City in the bottle, but, you know, they didn't warn us that it's also bad at playing Transmute Artifact, because do I even have a card from Arabian Nights here? I mean, you would assume that casting City in a Bottle makes sense if your opponent has any Arabian Nights cards. But this is, of course, not how AI works, or at least for now, because it would be very nice if there was some kind of an in game learning from AI. But, I think that we will see it one day. Maybe not necessarily implemented in Forge, but just as a kind of a technology. I think it is definitely feasible. And notice that our opponent doesn't have any cards in hand. That's rather important, to be honest with you. And okay, here I'm curious what happens first. So 1 damage to any target and 1 damage to you. Yes, okay, I'm not going to read the Oracle text, because the question is whether this damage will be dealt. No, I mean, it will be dealt using the usual Spirit Link effect. And again, let's not forget that it is not the same thing as Lifelink at all, because this is not a replacement effect. Here, if you have, let's say, 4 life and you're attacked with a 4/4 creature, let's say Sarah Angel, that is enchanted by a Spirit Link, you're still going to die, because you will first get this damage and then you will get 4 life, but it will be too late. So, yes, what I'm saying is that here we should attack first, then get life, and then we will start using this. Oh no, this is the abyss. This is the abyss. Okay. Well, there's nothing I can do, unfortunately. There's nothing I can do. I will simply have to wait until I have enough mana for a lethal earthquake, which will be lethal for both my opponent and me. So, okay, we have 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We need one more mana. We need one more mana to make it a draw. And here is that mana. So let's just hope that we don't die next turn. And then we'll be able to cast Earthquake, which is lethal. Oh no, it got discarded. Such a shame. Got discarded with Amnesia. But maybe we can get something else? Nope. No such luck. So again, as I was saying, it would be nice to see some kind of an AI engine that will be able to kind of learn inside the game or inside the match, and understand how your opponent usually plays, what kind of misplays this opponent has, and what kind of a deck we're facing, and what kind of meta game there is. So this is maybe a little bit of wishful thinking, but this is what I really would like to see. Okay, the card didn't land on any cards. Okay, so just an unlucky orb flip. Oh, and here is our demise. We lost to Mishra. So far, you haven't seen this deck in action, unfortunately. But when I play on Forge, I just record things live because it would be like cheating if I just cut some misplays, if I left only the matches that I don't know, more lucky, or maybe I don't know. I don't want this thing to be staged. I'm just playing Forge, and I'm here to showcase the decks that I've got. Okay, so far, um, brothers haven't been able to demonstrate how they work, sadly. And okay, here's the ubiquitous Mishra. Mishra is so hard to deal with. It's incredibly annoying because it is not possible to deal with Mishra using sorceries or enchantments. You can only deal with it using instants. And it's not that we always have an instant. That's a shame. Okay. Um, I don't know what to do here, really. I don't know what to do. I'm getting annihilated here, sadly, by a single freaking Mishra. That's always very, very annoying. Okay, then. And here's the bolt. So there is nothing I can do. And this is just very sad. This is just very sad. This is going to be my last turn here. Could I have done anything, really? Could I have done anything? I don't think so, because yes, I could have cast a couple of Earthquakes and Eternal Flame with using Circle of Protection Red, but this wouldn't have been enough if we count the mana that I've got, and again, paying one extra for Circle of Protection Red. This wouldn't have helped me to kill the opponent, and okay, I will cast the Guardians, but they will be immediately destroyed by the Abyss. So this just lets me leave one more turn, but that's pretty much it. So they're gone. And yes, this is just a very powerful deck. This is simply a powerful deck. So, okay, I will, of course, just to tick the box, cast Earthquake for the amount of mana that we've got. And that would be 5. We pay this mana, and we use Circle of Protection. And yes, we did some damage, but we died to Mishra. So there it is. Once again, if you want to watch how this deck really should perform, please do watch the stream. I will leave a link in the description to that particular moment when I start playing this deck. But nevertheless, it is, I hope, an interesting deck for you. And please let me know if you have built anything similar, as I have said in the description for this deck. And I know that it is a more or less well-known archetype. Here I just tried to push this theme, and maybe this is why it's not very successful, because let's face it, of course, it's always good to add, let's say, disenchants or bolts to such a deck. But still, here it is. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.